Flame? Another backstory? The start of their journey, it seems.
バザルトの最後の言葉は覚えてるか？
あいつらは言葉で人間をたぶらかすんだよ。
Demons.
それが私が魔族と呼ぶ者たちの正体だ。
That Flame calls. I do love the use of the reflection of like the river or the pond there, kind of showcasing like the two different worlds, life and death. A powerful mage indeed.
そうだな。だがフリーレンは無事では済むまい。
Really now?
確かにフリーレンは我らの脅威だ。だが魔力はアウラ様に遠く及ばず。
Far less mana, but what about the weight of her soul though?
早々のフリーレンは我らを正面から。
Well, the Frieren that you've engaged with is not the same Frieren that you're facing right now.
そうか。まさかそんなことが。フリーレンも同じなんだな。
What, the ability to hide their actual potential? Like their actual output mana also rest in peace? Not really. Fuck that dude.
エルフの集落か。
Oh, this is it, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. The swing set. And this is where Flame found Frieren, I'm
こいつを
assuming?
殺したのはお前か？そこの死にか。
Yeah.
あなたには私の気持ちがわかるはずだ。あなたの方がはるかに強い魔法使いだから。
And yet the difference in their... Wow, okay.
どうしてそう思った？
なんとなく。
So now we know that Frieren's hatred toward Demonkind is very personal.
守れなかった。私が一番強かったのに。
I wonder how old Frieren is at this point. Whoa. Love these designs, man.
今まで研鑽してきた自らの魔法に対する自信と信頼。クソみたいなおごりと油断だ。
I love that. I love that.
こいつらは格上の卓越した魔法使いだったが、些細な油断で命を落と
Right.
体外に放出する魔力のせい。
Right, exactly. Jesus, that is huge. Way bigger than Frieren, that's for sure.
私は魔族に全てを奪われた。
私もだ。
魔族を根絶やしにしたいほど憎い。
私もだ。
Hmm.
だから魔法を愚弄するような卑怯者は私たちだけでいい。
An interesting perspective.
この魔力の制限はどのくらい続ければいいの？
私と同じくらい。一生だ。
I love the hard cut to Frieren just facing against the army of Aura.
この私の前でそんなに多くの魔力を消費して大丈夫なのかしら。
服従の天秤。
Oh, you know Frieren is gonna be in one of those scales and she is going to tip it off heavily.
アウラが500年以上生きた大魔族であること。
I can't wait for Frieren to actually showcase her true potential powers and Aura is gonna be like, whoa.
それでも魔族は魔力を包み隠さないし。
Nor can they. It's one of their weaknesses, I guess.
アゼリューゼ。
No, she's using it. God!
なんで先生みたいに常に魔力を制限したりしないんだろう。
Alright. Some of these architectures, man. Very Roman or Greek inspired, right? Also, I guess, showcasing like the difference between like over 1,000 years ago.
奴らにとっての魔力は人にとっての地位や財産だ。
Alright. Dignity. Alright.
だから力の強い魔族ほど必死に魔力を誇示するんだ。
Basically a show-off. Look at how powerful I am. You wouldn't dare attack me. You know?
奴らは魔法を誇りに思い、誰よりも魔法が好きなのに、己の魔力すら自由にできない。
Can't control their own mana because they're bound to it.
だいぶ様になってきたな。
Whoa.
まだ魔法は好きか？
How time flies.
結局私はお前に戦いのことしか教えなかった。復讐のための魔法だ。フリーレン、一つ頼みがある。
Great shot.
花畑にしてくれ。
That's why. Oh, wow. Wow. Getting teary-eyed, man. Wow.
この森に長く生きた魔法使いがいると聞いた。
Those quick cuts, man. Wow.
嬉しそうだねアウラ。勝利を確信している。
Aura's gonna fucking die.
早々のフリーレン。
So no Frieren.
あなたの魔力が全てを物語っている。
It's that overconfidence, man.
鍛錬を積んだのはせいぜい合わせて100
Bro, try 1,000.
大して変わっていない。魔力以外の技術を磨いていたのか。
Take your time, Frieren, take your time. Let her have this victory for now and then just rip it off. I love this music building up.
フリーレンの魔力を消耗させるまでもなかったわ。
Look at that smug on her face.
なんだ。
You done fucked up.
私は生きてきた時間のほとんどを魔力を制限して過ごした。この状態が自然になるほどに。
This music is great.
お前たちに勝てる。
Look at her face.
ふざけるな。私は500年以上。
Denial. She's now in denial.
お前の前にいるのは
Oh, she's gonna unleash it.
1000年以上生きた魔法使いだ。
Nah, that is huge. That is.
アウラ、自害しろ。 So that just happened? Frieren literally just said, go kill yourself. And she did. What a boss move. That was cold. That was If you told me when I watched episode 1 of Frieren, when I was seeing this story of a character unfold as she is beginning to understand emotions, where she's finally beginning to realize the importance of time, when she's finally realizing her feelings and her like thoughts and emotions on certain people, certain characters, about her friends and whatever, and her just walking around and making new friends and also learning about the value of humanity and such. Like, if you told me in episode 1 that later down the line, Frieren is gonna literally tell somebody to go fuck yourself and go kill yourself, and then that person obeys. As Frieren just walks away, not looking at her, not looking at the fact that Aura is doing it, like she is so confident that Aura will do it, like she's just Go kill yourself. As she turns away, looking back, like, you are not worthy of my eyes, of my sight. Like, I'm just gonna walk away. You're gonna die. If you told me that is gonna happen, I would say, Cap, how is this the same show? Oh man, what an incredible episode, and I guess what a way to finish off this little arc of Frieren and the gang just being in the city, facing the demon issue, if you will. And I'm sure we still need to figure out, like, you know, things, you know, like the aftermath, you know, the next episode. Like, obviously we still need to talk to, like, the graph, the leader of the city, Granad, and such. But effective right now, the demon problem is kind of solved, and what a way to solve it. Now, going to the start of the episode, we have this really interesting discussion or talk between Frieren and Flamme. The fact that Flamme calls these creatures demons, from that specific dialogue, it sounds like these creatures, they don't really have a quote-unquote name, like an actual name for themselves. It's just that Flamme is the one who kind of calls them as demons, and then that kind of became the norm. Like, that kind of became what we would describe them and how they would, I guess, describe them. Actually, I feel like they also kind of claim themselves as demons. It's a fascinating discussion, to say the least, because it's one thing that I never really think about in any fantasy, if I'm being honest. Like the origin of one's, like, name, or the name of their species, their kind, right? You don't really hear how the orcs are named the orcs, or how the ogres are called the ogres. But here, it's almost as if Flamme is the one who started calling them demons, and people just kind of roll with it. So I don't know if that's kind of like what they are insinuating or not, but if it is, it's kind of cool. But moving on from there, we finally get to see, like, the full flashback, the full backstory of the fire and the swing set. We got a very small glimpse of it when Frieren was talking about, like, the last time she ever saw an elf or whatever, and the fact that their kind is kind of going into extinct. And there it is. I talked about, like, are we going to see Frieren's family or whatever, but this backstory kind of tells me that all of them are dead, and the show doesn't have to tell us directly, you know, like, we can easily decipher that, yeah, this whole village is dead. Frieren herself being the only one alive means that whoever is taking care of Frieren is no longer with her, which also makes it even more sad of the fact that Frieren's race is not only slowly becoming extinct because of their own, I guess, how do I describe it? Like, their own desire of reproduction, which is very minimal, and now it's also because their entire race is being slowly killed off, destroyed, wiped out by the demons. And it just adds a whole different perspective as to why Frieren acts the way she does towards demonkind. I talked a bit about, like, the overall symbolic nature of the demons themselves and whatnot, and what it means in the previous episode. Basically, I talked about, like, how the demons can easily represent the ideas of evil or destruction or corruption, basically things that cannot be redeemed. So it's not that we are necessarily supposed to sympathize with them, because these are not beings capable of quote-unquote love or kindness or humanity, if you will. And they are here solely to destroy. But I am still curious on the idea if there is such a plot point in the future where there is going to be a demon that is capable of such emotions that will challenge Frieren's own preconceived feelings towards demonkind, because obviously Frieren absolutely hate them to the point that, yeah, I'm going to destroy each and every one of you. I live on hatred. So I am curious to see if that is going to be a case in the future. Even if it's not, that's fine. Not every story has to dive into that trope, if you will. But still, nonetheless, an interesting idea. And Flame's own description of the demons and like their weaknesses or their strengths as well, I really find interesting because it is great world building and just I love it when fantasy actually dives deeper into each of the different races and like what they are and what they are capable of, like their history. It's cool shit. I really love that shit. All right, and Flame just essentially reading like the codex in like the codex entries of like the demons, like you want to know more about the demons, here you go. I love that shit. And it's also an interesting lesson that Flame is giving to Frieren. Like her first major lesson to Frieren is to deceive your enemies. I just find it a rather fascinating lesson to be your first. And Flame knows this, towards the end of her life, Flame did admit to Frieren that she kind of regrets that the only thing that she was able to teach Frieren is essentially the art of war, right? Combat, battle, tactics, and such. But I think what is also important to remind ourselves is that obviously Flame does not have enough time, right? She only has 50 years to teach Frieren, whereas Frieren will live on for over 1,000 years. So I think for all intents and purposes, Flame did what I consider the right thing, which is to teach Frieren self-defense. Let's just put it that way. She's not really teaching Frieren how to fight. She's teaching Frieren self-defense. That's one way to say it, right? That's one way to put it. But I think it also goes to show how kind-hearted Frieren is. And what I mean is that Frieren has learned all of these incredibly powerful spells and magics of utter destruction and death. And yet, for over 1,000 years, she kind of suppressed all of that, right? She self-contained that. She restrained herself. She never did anything bad, at least from our knowledge of history. And she did it all for good at the end, right? She finally used her powers to defeat the Demon King. And over the course of those 1,000 years in before that, she does absolutely fuck all. Yes, you may say that she's kind of lazy, but at the same time, you also gotta respect that Frieren at that point is probably one of, if not the most powerful beings in that world, and she's using it not for evil, but she's been using it rather to better herself, and I think that's rather admirable. But speaking of the 1,000 years between Frieren's and Flame's master-student relationship to her defeating the Demon King, I love that we are shown what the world looks like over 1,000 years ago, and immediately it reminds me of Greco-Roman architecture. Like you see stuff like this reminding me a lot of like Roman pantheons or Greek temples, and even the clothing designs of the people surrounding them in the city also evokes that time period, and I just find it to be really, really cool. Like you can definitely tell that there is a difference between the world design of 1,000 years ago and the world design of the present, which is far more medieval. And I guess we can talk about this scene, which again, it is insane. It's probably one of the best scenes of the entire show so far. I just love the overconfidence that Aura is displaying, like, yeah, I'm the greatest. Like, I can see you, Frieren, like, you only have, like, what, 100 years of practice, and that's nothing compared to me. And then immediately Frieren, like, yeah, okay, well, here you go. Full display of power, raw intensity, like, it's a beautiful, beautiful way to make the entire moment feel
cathartic because the episode has done a pretty good job of establishing that, yeah, Frieren 1,000 years ago is that strong. Wait until you see how Frieren is today. And the episode has just been this really slow buildup of like, okay, we know. And every time we kind of cut back to the past of like learning that Frieren is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then we cut to the present and then it's just Aura going smugly like, huh. I am 1,000 times stronger than you. And then Frieren's just like deadpan faced with a bit of a smile like, yeah, okay. It's so good. I love this so much. This is great. This is fantastic. This episode is incredible. I enjoyed it. I love it. And that is pretty much it for my review and my reaction to Frieren episode 10. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, hit the like, subscribe, share the video. Early access and uncut reactions are all available in the Patreon. Links in the description below. And I will see you all next time. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day. Peace.